Yo, what up? I decided to do a quick recording here on Monster Hunter. More or less, this video is only directed at a couple people, but we'll see how many people I actually share it with. So, I should make sure it's doing the right thing, because, you know, recordings sometimes don't want to be right. Just check it real fast. Yeah, looks like it should be fine. I'll check the preview quick. Yeah, okay. So, the reason I wanted to do a video was kind of to show off the major parts of the gameplay for you guys. I usually kind of relate this game to Dark Souls, primarily because of the weighty combat. You know, in Dark Souls and Bloodborne, it really matters what you do and how you position yourself and when you attack and defend and yada yada. So the same goes for this game. You know, you're going to spend a lot of times trying to get into the right position, understanding what the monster is going to do, how to respond, when to attack, when not to attack, etc. So, essentially the game is kind of structured in the sense of you're in town here, that's where you do your crafting. You can come over here and talk to the chef, and you have various currencies, but you can buy various meals to boost stats to get certain abilities. So like this is like the top platter generally. You have some abilities there at the bottom for like feline, acrobat, defender, and weakener, and basically, you know, quick recovery, reduces damage taken, and monsters are weaker. And then you have a chance to, you know, get those buffs. So if we eat quick, you know, you get a little cutscene here with the cat chef. Cats are a huge part of the game. They also go on hunts with you, and you find them in the wild. So there's, you know, a story to the game, but it's primarily going to be hunting monsters, you know. That's kind of the title of the game, and that's kind of all you do, is you hunt monsters. So you have a little lady here that you can get quests from, and then you have your item box where you do all your, you know, changing your armor and setting up your weapons and what you're going to bring into the zone with you. So you can only bring so many items of certain things. So like when it comes to potions, you can bring 10, but this max potion I can only bring 2 of. I want to bring... Yeah, we'll just bring some antidotes, might as well. And then there's a couple of items that are kind of like charms, yada yada. But then I can only carry additional items that I pick up in the zone, you know, a limited amount. You can go back to your box in zone, but it takes time, blah, blah, blah. So, on top of that here, let's take a look at the map. So there's 5 different zones, and then there's like a low rank and a high rank. And the last zone is only accessible in high rank. Most of the monsters that are available are in both low and high rank, aside for a few of the last, like elder dragons and such. And you can kind of see on the side which monsters are available in the zones if you were just to go inside of it from the screen. Because you can just go on an expedition just to explore, gather, kill monsters, whatever. Or you can come over here and essentially just like start a mission. So they have a few different kinds of missions, the assigned story missions, and then there's optional ones on each kind of tier level, blue being low rank and this orange being high rank. And there'll be different types of missions, whether it's hunting 1 or sometimes in this case 2 monsters. Sometimes you have to capture using traps. So, and then there's investigations, which you get from doing various things, finding items in the world, hitting monsters, discovering monsters, yada yada yada. And those will, you know, sometimes it's a 15-minute hunt. You can only fate one time, but it's going to pay out more and give you some gold items for special drops, yada yada. And then there's events as well too. Um, you know, hunt all 5 of these monsters. And some of these will be timed or only last a limited amount of time and give you special items. So that's pretty cool. And then going on with this whole Monster Hunter thing, you have like your hunter notes. So when you're like hunting monsters in the world and picking up items and yada yada, you get information about them. So like this is one of the first monsters you meet, and it kind of tells you in the middle little characteristics, what map on the right side, some useful info, but it also shows how many times you've hunted and captured and the smallest and largest ones that you fought. You can tab over and see what parts are breakable and which weapons excel at it, elements and weaknesses and things like that. And the more you hunt them and the more research you find, the more information that you get. So you don't start off knowing the weaknesses. You have to fight them once at least or whatever until you to discover, what to bring in next time. And then there's different rewards based on, low rank and high rank. And then, for example, you don't see, I have some frequency stars on this page, but not this one because I haven't really fought him in high rank a lot. Versus, like, let's go. I've got both of them for the Puki Puke. So, and then, so that's really cool. It's a nice feature I find for a game like this because then I'm not going online and trying to find out in a guide. I would rather just go in and fight them once and then I know. I don't need to alt tab and yada yada. And then just to mention too, there's a whole ton of weapons. So each one of these weapons is a different class of weaponry, I would say, and then each one has a huge weapon tree, which I'll show in a little bit. I wanted to kind of just jump into jump into a map and just kind of run around and show you. We're not going to launch a mission. I just want to do an expedition. And I suppose a good place to start off is just the good old ancient forest. There's a couple of locations, and as you start off, you only have the first camp, and you have to run around to discover the other camps, and then usually do a little mission, deliver some ingredients or some parts to the base for them to be able to set up camp there, and then it allows you to spawn there, which sometimes will be closer to a monster that you're actually trying to hunt. So as we come in here, here's camp. Here's your little tent if you need to trade out items or swap gear. And then there's actually, at most camps, there'll be a place where you can actually sit down and eat as well, which is nice in case you die. You lose your food buffs when you die. So we got the map here. It's decently large, and then there'll be multiple layers to the map as well too. So that's like going up through the great tree there. So a big part of the game, again, is hunting. You're killing monsters, but you're also hunting them. And new in this game are these like little tracking bugs. So as you come out into the world, there's regular small monsters, and there'll be items for you to collect. But you also have these little bugs that will show you, oh, there's like plants nearby. So see, they're kind of glowing by this herb, and I can collect the herb. But they also help you find the monsters you're tracking. So if you're actually looking for a monster, it'll point you in the proper direction once you found some footprints or tracked it enough times. So here's some herbs, here's some honey. Good stuff to collect while you're running around. Now I have some field research missions to collect various goods, so honey is on that list. So here's some little monsters. Now they've seen me and my red bugs flash to say, oh, I'm in combat, my tracking is not working right now. But see, here's some, I found right here, some Anjanath footprints. Do a little sniff on him, and now I can kind of see Anjanath on the map. He's kind of through this way and up a little bit. There'll be a lot of items that you pick up that is used for your little slingshotter that you can shoot, like this bright moss. You can light up the area. You can also fish and trap the really, really tiny little, like those bats and things. I want to say you can catch the bats. I've never actually caught one, but you can catch pretty much everything else like that. So here's some bugs. So like I say, you're kind of tracking footprints or scratches, or if they leave feathers behind and things like that, until you find the monsters that you're looking for. I want to see if we can. So there's one of the monsters right there. Visually seeing the monster as well will give you research once you get close enough to it in most cases. See, I got an investigation there on the right-hand side as well. Now, I've already seen, Anjanath quite a bit. His research bar is, I want to say, full. But he is a hostile monster, so if I get in front of him and he notices me, he'll probably not like me. Oh, he's trying to bust through there. I'll just follow him. Now, in most cases, if I attack him, he will be pissed off, so we're going to do that. Oh. Where are you going? More footprints. Investigation for finding footprints. So we're just going to hit him. So in this game, you can pull your weapon out and attack at the same time, but you can't run quickly with your weapon out. So you have to put your weapon away, and then when you put your weapon away, then you can use items. I think the sword and shield can use items with the weapon out, but that's it. Otherwise, you can do like a dodge roll and try to position yourself better. And then every weapon has its unique kind of flow to it. So I use the great sword. It can do little tackles between, but it also works on huge charges. Good for chopping. Good for breaking the tail. Where are you going, boy? And then there's also a mounting mechanic. So if you jump through the air and slash like that, you can jump on top of them. That's what my chest piece is for. Come on down from there, buddy. Yeah. So like I say, it's all about positioning and knowing what your weapon is going to do. I have very slow recoveries with this, so it's important to position. It's important to watch your stamina. You don't want to run out, and when you run out completely, you do like a little oh, I'm tired animation, and you kind of try to catch your breath. Ugh. Oh, whew. So you have some items at the bottom. Oh, I'm dazed. My cat can knock me out of being stunned, or if you're playing multiplayer, other players can help. But you have like an item wheel that you can bring up by holding left bumper, and there's 4 different shortcuts for it. And then there's also you can hold it and use X to cycle through the items in the bottom if you want something just available on X. So I have these flash pods. I can equip them and they throw them on my little gear, and then I can shoot like a light, bam, and that'll daze him. So now he's kind of pissed off and dazed, but he'll still attack, but he can't see me. So I can charge up this weapon to get bigger hits, and there's actually multiple stages to it. So here's like stage 2, and then stage 3, and it's a 2-hitter. But, it's tough to stay in position with something like that. So with the sword, the great sword, you can actually use the tackle mechanic, which you can tackle after rolling, and you can tackle while charging. So usually I'll charge and maybe hit him once, and then I'll charge and do a tackle and start that second hit early. So that second hit's great for breaking. You can usually break the back and the face and the tail off. Wings are a primary break point, horns. Okay, now he's running away because I've done some decent damage to him. So it's back to the track mode. You can usually see him on the map at this point too. Try and run around him. We're going to throw on my cloak. That drops more items when we hit him. I'm going to try and get a jump on him. There we go. So this is the mount mechanic. every weapon can do it, I want to say. And then while you're mounted on him, you can jump around, because in the lower left corner you get this little menu around the map. When it flashes like that, you're losing stamina at a higher rate. You can normally just hold on and stop attacking, but in this game you can jump around to various points to do more damage to like the face right now, like a finisher, to help break the face or break the tail off. Boom. So big damage. Now he's knocked over. Now we can kind of go to town on a part specifically to help break it. And my little cat buddy there, who I made armor and weapons for as well from hunting monsters, also can tame animals. He's got a little weapon to help steal. He's just a badass in general. Oof. Yeah, that's a good attack not to get hit by, that's for sure. Ugh. Yeah. So that glowy thing on the ground is one of the items my cloak is dropping. Running low on stam. There we go, got a heart break on him there. Ugh. Quit, you're roaring. Ah, he's running away again. So when you like grab research stuff, which is like the footprints and like the points on the right side, that fills up your point meter, which is another form of the currency, which you can buy food with and do various other things. There's like a guy who goes on boat trips and will bring resources back for you, which is nice. Might as well mount this guy, right? This is another guy, another monster in this area. Might as well just get off him. Let's get him out of here. So you can get these dung pods, which are a nice tool to bring along for the ride. You can shoot them at monsters. They'll get, see how he got like a poop cloud on him? So now he's all grossed out and he'll want to get the fuck out of here. So in these kind of hunts, you know, I'm not really hunting the monster, so there's a good chance that he could leave partway through if I'm not quick and I don't track him well. But in actual hunts, you have like more of a standard, like 50 minutes or 30 minutes to capture the monster, and they won't just leave. Again, put the weapon away so I can heal. He's jumping, trying to get to me. It's a panic dodge. Try to break his tail off, huh? Slamming his tail, trying to knock me off. That's why I gotta jump away from it. There we go. Cut that tail right off. That's what I'm saying. Now he's not happy. Woo! Is he running away? Okay. So I gotta carve this quick. Part of hunting monsters is getting your carves. So I got a tail off of that. Which usually you get tails from tails, but sometimes you get other things like scales or feathers or marrow. So, oh, it's not. This is another camp. But he didn't go this way, he went this way. There's another monster. Ugh. Second hit. It's always hard to hit this guy with. Yeah, quit your roaring. You're gonna attract another monster. Okay, now he's limping. And on the map you can see in the bottom left corner he's got like a skull coming off him. So that means he's actually ready to trap. If I had trapping goods, then I could trap him. And what trapping does, it just gives you a different set of rewards, because some rewards come from carves and some rewards only come from like the reward box, which is non-carves. So if you're looking for something specific, you may be better off capturing them than just killing them off. In this case, I'm not here on a hunt, I'm just here on an expedition. So it's kind of free reign, which is nice. Monsters come and go over time. You can stay here for almost pretty much as long as you want. There's no real restriction on that. And like I say, the maps are huge, which is nice. You can really explore. There's a lot of different things you can do. You coming down, bud? Probably come down this way. Yep. I couldn't get in front of him. So you can also set your quick menus to be recipes. So if I had enough materials, I could make more of those flash pods. I think yep, that's another flash bug. But we'll just let them climb. These other monsters are interested in the prospects of food. So he's going to sleep now, which makes it much easier to set up the traps or bombs or whatever. I like to do this, combo into my third stage. But I mean, by this time he's pretty hurt. Oof. Springy, you're on a springy. That's a hard-hitting hit. Wake me up, fellas. Come on. You gonna chase me down here? So another mechanic to this game is like your weapon becomes less sharp over time. There's a meter underneath your stamina bar in the top left. There's different colors to sharpen this. And then if it's too dull, then when you try to hit certain enemies, it'll bounce off them and it will deal very low damage. Or just bounce back towards you and thus wreck the combo that you're trying to pull off. Always roaring. Now he's gonna try to run away, I bet. Did I piss him off enough again to stay here? Jeez. It's being very tough. Slayed him. So normally if this was like an actual hunt, you would get like a bum 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 bum, you know, and a little dialogue saying you only have a couple, you know, usually it's like 30 seconds to a minute or whatever. You have enough time to sit here and carve the monster you just killed. And then, you know, anything else, sometimes like, oh, I have a minute so I can carve these monsters. I can run and grab that herb that's sitting over there and then I get whisked back to town. But in this case, I'm here on an expedition, so it's not going to make me leave. But there's tons of things you can do. But since I've hunted a monster, let's go back to town. So from any mission, you can like leave at any point. It's not going to like take away the items that you got. Even if you came in and you're like halfway beating up a monster and you're like, oh shit, I left these items I need, you can just head back to town. In most cases, you don't lose your mission. It doesn't really count as a failure. And then you get the items that you collected. Even the items in your inventory and stuff. Plants you've picked or mines that you've mined. You know. So, then your cat's level, each map actually has various things for your cats to do as well. To unlock new abilities or new weapons. So now you're back in town. Gives you notices on the right to keep you aware of stuff that you have going. So like it said, I have harvests waiting. In most cases, I've like completed some bounties here, so I can redeem those or deliveries at these folks. You can also set up your investigations there. Here's where your farm is. You can grow stuff that you find in the wild, except for mineable things. So I'm cultivating bitter bugs, but you can, choose to grow lots of things. Honey's important. I have like 500 of those. But these bitter bugs I don't have a lot of right now. I'm at like 100. So I'm growing them, and then you can like fertilize them with various fertilizers to help plants along, or mushrooms or bugs. So you pick the right one and then you collect them. And you have a big box so you could let them sit for a while if you were so inclined. What else we got here in town? You got your room, which, like these little animals and birds sitting around here I've collected in the wild, and you can set them up here in town. And then you can talk to your housekeeper cat and go to training or place pets. And then there's also the safari. So the safari is like other people's cats that you know. You can send them on missions, and then they'll get you items as well. So they usually go on 5 various missions in the run, and then bring you back the items, and then you can send them back. And if you don't know people in the game on your friends list, then it'll just provide you with some. They have elevators to get you around to various places if you don't want to walk. So here's the workshop. Some gear you can buy. I'll show you, for example, purchase armor. There's really not a lot available in the ways of purchasable armor. It all comes from crafting. And that's kind of the point. You hunt the monsters. Monsters weak to lightning, but it's an ice monster, so it'll probably make you ice weapons. It'll probably make you gear that's related to it some way, whether it's ice resistances, or it gives you bonuses to mounting monsters, or attack bonuses, or fire damage, or whatever. And then you can also make gear for your cats here. So we'll start there. You know, they each have various weaponry. So it starts off with like a basic kind of shovel and kind of works its way up to like the final little set here. You can also look at the whole set as a whole. So this is one of the final little gears so far that I found. But they have some cool looking ones. Like I might actually kind of want to make that one. That looks dope. It's kind of weaker in the... This is the one I have on right now, which looks kind of cool. I suppose it's stronger than the one I have on by a little bit. But you can see the parts. It takes one Elder Dragon Bone, which I might not want to spend on that. Sinister Cloth. See, I wouldn't have enough to make the whole set, because it would take 3 bones. Plus, I'm in tier, what? This is tier 6, rarity 6 gear. And this is only 1 rarity higher, so it wouldn't really be the big deal. But there's some cool stuff. And the gears usually represent the monsters visually as well too. So we'll look at the armors for the folks. So in low rank, you know, and when you fought a monster, you know, like the Kulu, it just gave you a set. And then like each piece here, like this piece gave fire resistance, stamina surge, pro transporter. I'm looking on the right hand side underneath the stats. Or you could look at it in this way where it gives you, kind of shows, this is from my trinket. But, so you can kind of plan your gear accordingly. If you're like, oh, I really wanted Pro Transporter, which Pro Transporter lets you carry, like if you need to do a mission where you carry a big egg, you're vulnerable while you're carrying it. You can't attack, and if you get hit, you drop it and it breaks. You're supposed to bring it from a place back to camp. So this helps you, it speeds you up, and you lose less stamina, yada yada. But in high rank, the same monsters, there's like 2 sets for each piece of gear, and you can color these sets. So as you go down, like here's the Hornitar set, which is a little like tiny monster that you can kill and it'll shatter unless you have a certain ability that'll let you collect, you know, carve that little hornet. But this has like a Fluvial Expert, which lets you go into like the poison area in the Rotten Vale, so you don't take damage constantly while you're walking around in it. But there's tons of various armors. So like this is just, it only has the gauntlets. It's for sliding and focus, yada yada. So in high rank, the way it works is, we'll go down here. Here's the first major gear of high rank, like the first monster that you fight. Usually the top row will have 2 skills on it, or it'll have a skill with 2 levels in it. So this Jagger set, it actually gives you a max level speed eating because it's got 2 in one and then 1 in another. Also Intimidator, da 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 da. So that's kind of nice. But the second, like Jagger's B, it looks a little differently as well, but it only has 1 skill, and then everything has a slot. So you can see underneath the name on the top right, it tells you the level, defense, and then the slot. And sometimes the slot will have multiple slots in it, or it can support a level 2 or level 3 gem, depending on like later on, like higher rarity gear. So like every gear has its own look based off of the monster. And then, you know, slightly variant too as you go along. It won't just be a color change. In some cases it's just a color change, unfortunately. But there's, you know, a lot of monsters in this game, and they're still coming out with more. There's a lot on the console. A couple extras, I should say. And on the PlayStation versions, they actually have monsters like Behemoth from Final Fantasy VII. And that's a really challenging fight, apparently. So just kind of showing through all. This is just a feline mask, and this is just Strategist goggles for critical damage, or like Palico Rally is a skill for increasing the cat strength. Some cool looking armors. Like I say, they all do different tasks. And then once you get down, you know, around here, now there's a set bonus. If you have on 2 of the set pieces in this, you're going to get this Legiana favor, which increases your drop reward chance. And then this one increases max bow charge. So if you're a bow user, you may want to look at using this set or something like that. Legiana set right here. So that's an important factor. If all the second level skills of a set are no good, and even the set bonus, you know, and you want the set bonuses, maybe you want to build the second skill. So you're, you know, oh, I want critical boost, intimidator, I don't care about. You know, but I want piercing shots. So I'm going to build this first one, you know, and kind of mix and match what you're wearing in that armor set. So, and even, you know, wearing multiple pieces across different armor sets, you don't have to wear everything from the same set. But it does end up meaning like, oh, I really want to wear this, you know, skirt piece to get that marathon runner for when I'm farming, let's say, or something stupid. I need to get some more Diablos Ridge pluses. Well, I know from the plus it's probably a high rank, it's in the high rank pool. But if you didn't know that for sure, Diablos Ridge, okay, well, you kind of pull open your hunter's notes here. I know I found a Diablos because I can see the gear in my menu. So we'll come down here, look through all the monsters. Oh, I passed it. Where are you? Diablos. And then you can go over to Physiology and say, okay, I'm going to want to bring an ice weapon along. Definitely not fire. And we wanted it's a high rank reward, and what it was like the Ridge Plus. So I'm going to need to carve it. It also drops the Ridge when it does various things like get into a turf war with another monster, or you break a piece on them, it might drop it. And then it's also in the rewards, so capping it will also be a viable means to it. I don't know that I haven't fought enough high ranks to show me the chances, but if we look over here, Ridge is pretty frequent. So you could probably have the same assumption that in high rank it'll probably be the same. So that's, you know, I think that's really cool that this game has all that in it. You don't have to look online. It kind of gives you that incentive to go, I'm going to fight that monster more so I know more about it. So next time I know exactly how to get that piece I'm looking for, and I can spend less time grinding for it, which is great. So that's the armor system. It's pretty straightforward. Along with the armors, like I say, there's slots. So I have an attack jewel in my armor slot. And what that's doing, it's actually letting me hit that final 7th. Let's go. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, I'm in the menu there. I gotta go to this menu. So I have actually hit attack boost 7 because I've got 2 in the helmet, you know, 2 set up in the other piece of the armor, and 3 on my amulet. So it lets me get a 7 total. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, let's look at that again. Because it's not saying chest. I could take that out of there. I was miscounting all this time because it doesn't show your, it should, but it doesn't show that in the decorations as part of your total. So we'll go down to decorations for my equipment. Here's an attack jewel. It's giving me 1, but I'm already maxed, so we could probably put in something else. There's a bunch of things here, like, oh, I can use a mining point more times, or you get better herbs, your tracking is better, yada yada. You take the less poison buildup when you're running around in that terrible place. But I think for the time being, we'll just put on a vitality jewel, get some more life out of it. So the big thing, of course, is upgrading and forging weapons. So when you start off, you have all the different weapons here, but there's only a couple different weapons that you can like kind of build. And when you start off, it's really only these Buster Sword and like Bone Blade, and I think that's it. Not even this Black Steel Chopper is available because that's like a rarity 5. It's really just this Bone Blade and the Buster Sword. But as you kill monsters and discover things, you start to learn this tree. So like the starter weapon goes off, and then it branches immediately here after the second build and kind of starts to go into 2 different trees. One is a Jagras monster, and then this is the Pookie Pookie, which turns it into a poison sword. But from this, it spreads off again and becomes a paralysis blade, or further down the line, it becomes a water element. Here's the ice sword, and here's thunder, and here's dragon. So as you go, you need more and more parts to progress that along. But after I progress down this tree, oh, well, if I want to make this ice sword, I have to restart. I have to make a new sword, get all these parts if I'm missing anything, back to here, and all the way up. You can progress, you can like devolve a weapon and get your parts back. You still lose your money for doing all that stuff. But once you get to certain points, these ones have boxes around them. They're just kind of locked in. You can't revert from that point. Which, I was having a discussion with some friends. I feel like that's a good mechanic. If you were allowed to fully refund everything, once you get enough items, you would pretty much be set. And you wouldn't have to, if you wanted to change weapon types, it would just be a matter of how much money you have. And there's actually pretty easy ways to get a decent amount of money in this game. Like I mentioned, there was a guy who brings stuff to you via boating, and you can tell him, oh, I want you to bring me monster parts, or I want you to bring me like sellable items. So he'll bring you items that you can they're just good for selling, and you make a ton of money doing it, and you basically turn points into money. And you get points from just like touching the footprints in the wild or completing bounties, and you do that shit constantly. So, I mean, that's why I've got like 17,000 points, because the boat guy just recently became available, and that's where a lot of the points I'll dump. It may cost like 600 points or something, or 700 points to buy one of those $7,000 to $10,000 conversions, I guess you would call it. So yeah, it becomes very fun. I feel you're like, oh, I can set up a wish list and say I want to get these items. I need some talons to make that upgrade. I need Elder Dragon blood, and then you can work with your friends and say, let's go hunt that monster a couple times and get those parts I need. The game definitely does a little bit of hand-holding at first, where it's like, okay, here's a little tutorial, talk to the chef guy, but it's never again gonna force you to go talk to the chef guy at the start of a hunt. They thankfully have included the eatery inside the hunt, if you forget. But a lot of times I forget to empty my item box or restock, which is huge. If you don't restock your potions and you go to fight the same guy, then you're out of potions. You know what I mean? In this case here, I went to restock my items. Press Y, restock your items. It didn't fill up my dung pods. So we gotta come over here. Let's look. Where are the dung pods? There we go. Dung pods, you can make them from either dung or rolled up dung. So I might as well, make a handful, but now I'm down to 7 dung. So that might be something important. Dung is very important in this game, because when you're fighting a monster, there are other monsters always in the zones nearby. And some monsters are attracted by the roars. Some monsters are attracted when they're injured. So you want a way to send them off. And the dung is a great way to do that. So I'm going to see if I can actually transfer some of this to dung. Can we? I've never looked in here for dung. Yeah, I don't think we can. So that's one of those things you just gotta collect. Gotta believe. Is boat guy here? No. He's usually right here. Can you buy dung pods? That actually would be not bad. Those are the things you can only have one of. Carry them on you. Yeah, it doesn't look like they sell dung. So yeah, that's something definitely good to collect. Lots of. But yeah, I mean, I really just wanted to kind of run through the basics of the game and kind of show off a little bit of the combat, show off fighting a monster. Um, Up this area right here is like the group collaboration zone. So if you're playing online, tons of people can join your session, but only 4 people can join a hunt at a time. But a lot of people could be up here like starting up hunts and, oh, I'll do that hunt with those guys. Like you could have your whole Steam group in this area, which is, I think is kind of cool. It's probably not highly used, but it might be. There's a box, there's a vendor, there's a guy to eat. You can get to your house over through that door. You can set up all the missions here. So it's kind of like an all-in-one place, except for you just can't craft. And sometimes you need to like do the bounty things or gather your harvests, which are all down there as well. But maybe I'll show off one of the last. You know, they've got all these zones like the forest, and then this is kind of like a mountainous, deserty waste. It's got a little bit of forest in it too, but not too much, just on the one side. And then this is like almost the graveyard. It's very bony. It's got that miasma at the bottom of it. It's very cancerous poison, hurts you. It's another little small research base where you just talk to a handful of people and do a couple missions out of. Then this place looks really cool. It's kind of like it almost looks like underwater because it's got this like coral look to it. So I'm gonna run there quick and just kind of show the way the map looks. Some maps have environmental things to them where I'm sure you saw in the jungle I was swinging on some vines, climbing up stuff. There's a lot of jumps and tunnels, and this place has like some things that you can zip line across, essentially. But I feel like this place is kind of cool looking. It's kind of, like I say, it looks like it was underwater for a long time or something and then got washed out. Here's some claw prints. Collect those, get some points. Get an investigation. It's very cool looking. That's the research expedition, that place I was saying that you can go to. It's actually flying above the coral highlands. Here's one of the fast travel points. So you got to do a mission to unlock these. Just got to do some deliveries. It's not really too hard to get these things completed, but it's a nice way to get around the map. Because the monsters in this area will fly around. So it's nice to be able to get around quickly. But there's, you know, huge areas to traverse. You can go lots of different areas here. There's even places like this where you can kind of like hook your way and launch. Maybe jump up on the back of the monster by using that to your advantage. You can jump off the... So there are some feathers there for one of the guys that flies around here. Halumo. But yeah, as you're climbing up here, you can, you know, you could jump off the top and land on the monster in mid-fight, or you could just come up here a little bit and kind of jump off and do your attack. Like I say, there's tons of places to go. Instead of climbing, you know, just use this. The monsters will use lots of these zones to hide out in or sleep if they're hurt. It's very cool. I mean, even like this stuff, you can climb up and jump off. So here are those like little bugs that I was talking about. They make a set of armor. They'll also stun you. So yeah, I mean, it's very cool. There's tons of stuff to do. Pretty cool looking monster there, I think. I think some people disagree and don't like that monster, but I think he's cool. There's even stuff like this, like there's little toads around and stuff that cause like sleep gases or poison clouds. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I really enjoy the game, and if you like combat that isn't just easy and you gotta work towards and actually think about, this is kind of a game that really emphasizes that, and then also has a lot of, you know, planning that goes involved in your hunts. You want to make sure you bring the right equipment. If the guy has a lot of poison, then you better bring your poison potions and maybe even materials to craft more during the fight. Once you get the hang of the fight, maybe you won't have to bring as much. So, and there's little things too. You know, if you capture a monster after a hunt or two, he'll become available to hunt in the arena. Which is nice because then you can get some more points out of it. You fight him in a small zone. There's not a lot of running. And then here's another cool zone. This is like the final zone that unlocks. And it's just got some cool looks to it as well. And this is also where the lava zone is. You go down in the heat and you actually need like these chill shrooms. I have it set to automatically make these cool potions. You can drink the cool drink and then you don't get affected by the heat. Otherwise, normally you would lose some stamina and take some damage over time. But there's definitely some cool monsters down here as well in this zone. Some big monsters. I mean, see how big this guy is? Do your thing, Leno. It's a tough one. Oh, looks like he saw me. It's pretty big too. But I'm not here to fight a monster. There's another one. He's a mean one. Rathalos. I just want your footprints, buddy. So yeah, probably won't really do too much else here. Probably call the stream, turn it off. Maybe I'll start streaming this at night when we play. Or soon, again, when we all meet up. But this is more or less like a demo, just to show the game and show what you do. And I mean, it's on, like I say, it's on the consoles, it's on PC as well, if that's what you're into. I know you guys have your PlayStations. But yeah, let's head back to town, and I'm gonna call it and have a little snack quick. What am I doing? Oh, and then you can also, like, just to mention it, you can fire these like SOS flares. So that makes it like now my game is in the SOS area. So people can come and join my hunt and help me out. So if I had joined it by myself and was getting my butt kicked, but I felt like I was close or whatever, they have that mechanic in the game, so you can kind of invite people on the fly, or just say, hey, anybody who's looking to help people, I need help, because I'm sure there are people out there who like enjoy coming to the rescue of other people. So it's an interesting concept. Plus there are some story missions at the beginning where you have to start it by yourself and kind of do a little cutscene and a little hunting, and then somebody can join you. So a lot of times it was like we'd all start the mission at the same time, and then we would back out and join on somebody, or just quickly join one other person, not have everybody back out. So here's El Capitan. So currently I have him set over on the right there. You can see material goods. He has the option for consumables, materials, or trade-ins. Trade-ins what I was talking about, where you can make money. But I've been kind of looking for some higher rank items that maybe you don't get as often. So you can kind of come in here and you can do a check, and you can kind of see the description on the bottom shows the value, how many you have in your backpack, and how many you have in your box. So if you cycle through and you're like, wow, I only have 3 of these Vespoid inner wings, well, those are those little bugs. I probably don't need a lot of them, but I don't have any toxic sacks. So I might actually buy this. It's only 500 points, so whatever. I don't have to hunt that monster to get that one item, right? So let's look at this one. Rathalos Marrow, I've only got 1 of those. So that might be good. Those Rathaloses can be tough to fight. It's 800 points, like whatever. I make a lot of points. Check items. So another Toxin Sack, might be good to get another one. Aqua Sack. You know, there's some stuff in here. It's another 500, that's okay. Be nice if you could just buy, you know, the one item, but... So, but eventually he'll leave and then he'll come back eventually again. But I've got some more of those items that potentially could have been needed to craft that upgrade or make that armor piece I was looking for. And again, you don't have to buy them all. I just bought them all because I've got plenty of points. We'll just see if he's got anything available. You can kind of look through and see if there's any light text at the bottom where it shows the upgrade name, like that Iron Hammer 2. But not seeing any. Yeah, I need Elder Dragon Bones for that upgrade. Which, depending, I might go down this way, just because... So this is an ice element you can kind of see on that right-hand side, but it's grayed off, meaning you need the help of the true element skill to make it shine and come out. But like this, fire is already a part of it. You know, so there's another, this is the ice one where it's already working. I just need another Elder Dragon blood. That's why I didn't want to spend it on the cat suit, because I want to make this weapon. We can support a diamond or a gem level 3, which is nice. I actually don't have any yet, but whatever. So, but yeah, for sure, that'll be it. Thanks for watching it. Later.